Welcome to Washington Watch with Congressman Walter Jones. Each month, we take a look at the events happening in Washington, D.C. and how they affect our lives here in eastern North Carolina. And now, here's your Congressman, Walter Jones.
Welcome to the December edition of Washington Watch. Today's guest is Major Ross Meglathery from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Received his degree from Trinity College and a Master's of Science from the University of Virginia. Began his military service in numerous fleet assignments in North Carolina. In 2001 and 2002, served overseas as United States military observer in Western Sahara, Africa. Following his UN tour in 2003, he became a reservist, but was recalled a year later when he deployed with the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit to Iraq. In 2006, he joined the Marine Reserve Unit, 4th Air Naval Gunfire Liaison Company, serving as an artillery officer. In 2007, he deployed again to Iraq, serving as a firepower control team leader. While there, he earned a Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with Combat V. In 2008, demobilized to serve in the Marine Corps Reserves. In October 2009, the Major was selected as a Congressional Fellow for Congressman Mike Coffman, representative for Colorado's 6th District, where he currently serves. Major, thank you for being on our show. Thank you for your service to our nation and your continued service, by the way.
Well, thank you for having me today, sir.
Major, with Camp Lejeune, I think you were at Camp Lejeune at one point.
Yes,
Cherry Point, is that right?
That's correct, sir. I was at Cherry Point from 1999 until 2002, and then Camp Lejeune from 2004 through 2006.
Well, you have a lot of friends in the Corps there and those two bases, as well as the citizens who love and respect our Marine Corps in eastern North Carolina. The reason I asked the Major to be on this show today, we're in December, and this is a different year for our country, as we all know. Many of the people in our area of eastern North Carolina are unemployed. A lot of families are not in the best of financial shapes. And the Marine Corps has a wonderful program. That's why I've invited the Major to be with us today. It's called Toys for Tots. Major, would you tell those who are watching this show a little bit of the history and how y'all work nationally to try to bring toys in for children that need to be loved?
Yes, sir. Well, I think I can go back to the history of Toys for Tots. In 1947, Major Bill Hendricks, his wife, Diane, basically handmade a doll, and for some children, she wanted to give to children that didn't have toys or were needy, and she told her husband, please donate this to some agency that can do that. And when he researched it, he realized there wasn't an agency out there. So his motivation was to create a Toys for Tots program, and he was in Hollywood at the time working as a publicist, so he created a drive where they collected up to 5,000 toys and distributed those, and it was a successful program. In 1948, it was formally recognized by the Marine Forces Reserve, and it went nationwide. Right. And so up to 2009, there were 16 million toys distributed to over 7 million children.
That's wonderful.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful. I have always been intrigued about, the Marine Corps League's very active in eastern North Carolina, as they are across the nation. It's how you keep accounting of what you bring in and how you know where it's going. I don't know if that's an internal secret or not, but it's pretty amazing how you really bring these toys and distribute the toys.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad you mentioned the Marine Corps League, too, because I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there were volunteers through the Toys for Tots Foundation, as well as members from the Marine Corps League detachments throughout the nation that are I believe it's 691 organizations, groups in the United States delivering toys to needy children, both in Puerto Rico as well as the United States, and so veteran Marines as well. So it's really a group effort to make this happen for those children.
Major, let me ask you, because I know we have many of our service personnel coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq who are family members, have children. I guess in a way, how do, if a family is in the Corps, let's say, would it be possible that someone would know that maybe they needed some help?
Yes, sir. There are programs, especially for children who may have lost a family member overseas, through other Marines and volunteers.
Right.
The Toys for Tots program specifically is to bring a new toy to a child that's needy through financial difficulties. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a family member or a child of the Marine Corps. But the goal really is to get them a brand new toy based on financial need. But there are programs out there for family members of Marines that are deployed, and it's a tight community, especially in the Marine Corps. We're all siblings, if you will.
Okay. Well, I hope that people watching this show and listening to this discussion will do what I try to do. And I don't mean to follow me, but if I can go into a store and it's a variety type store, I try to get one toy. And I believe you said before we started the interview that usually it's the younger children that you maybe have more need. Did I understand you correctly, or did I misunderstand you?
No, I believe, of course, all children deserve to have a present for Christmas, but I think Christmas time is especially meaningful and magical to those much younger children. And so I think Toys for Tots covers children of a variety of ages. In fact, right. When we collect the toys, they're distributed, they're broken down and separated into age groups so that a child doesn't just receive a toy. It's a toy that, for an 8-year-old, they're going to get an age-appropriate toy as well. So I'd like to emphasize that as well. So I would encourage people to bring a toy based on an age that they're specifically thinking about, and if they want to bring multiple toys, I would maybe bring toys for different age groups if you're going to do more than one toy.
Major, because of what you just said, I think we have a display that maybe now would be a good time to let the people watching this show see the locations of the Toys for Tots in eastern North Carolina.
Okay, sir.
And they will put that on the screen, and those who are watching the show maybe can make a notation where these locations are and maybe carry that toy and drop it off at that location. But let me ask you again, I think just for a moment, explain to those watching this show what a Marine Fellow is that you're working in Congressman Kaufman's office, and I believe he was a Marine himself. Is that correct?
He is, sir, and I'll say he is, of course,
always
because
a Marine.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. Okay. He retired from the Marine Forces or Marine Corps Reserve. Basically, a Marine Fellow. This is a chance for a member of the Marine Corps, both active duty or reserve, to work for a member of Congress to understand the way the process works, and as well, we provide some sort of basic knowledge of not only the Marine Corps, but I would say Department of Defense programs and some sort of subject matter guidance and information, and we're a resource too, because of course we have friends and we know people in the community.
Sure. Well, a few years ago I had one Marine Fellow, Rich Roy, who I think was in the Commandant's office as a communications expert, I guess. But going back to the Toys for Tots, do you feel that this year what you're hearing from those in the program, like yourself, are you hearing that people are able to keep contributing toys at the same level, if I can say it that way, that maybe a year or two ago before we got into this very difficult economy?
Yes, sir. I don't exactly know the numbers. I know that people are hurting at this time, and so it really is important for those that have the ability to give to those needy children to please provide a brand new toy unwrapped to these children, because there certainly are a lot of children out there that won't be getting Christmas presents this year without the help of others, and those generous Americans that have been helping out for the Toys for Tots program in the past. I'd encourage them to please help once again, and those who haven't, please also take this opportunity to do so for the first time.
Right, Major, that's a great point. I know that many people are not in that position, but those of us who are fortunate enough to have a job, and particularly those of us who are older that don't have young children at home, it still gives you a little, talking about myself now, I guess, but joy to go in and look at the different toys in a section if I'm in a store, and maybe pick out something that I feel like is affordable for me, and bring that back to. We actually have Toys for Tots bin in the district office in Greenville. Jason Lowry, himself a Marine at one time in his younger life, he is with the Marine Corps League in Pitt County, and they have been very active, and he has been very active in trying to get those watching the show to go to any of the locations, but to drop off the toy. Let me ask you a little bit about being from Philadelphia.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting off subject, but I think that's what makes a Christmas show instead of talking about serious policy and everything. But my wife's a big Carolina Hurricane fan, and so obviously the many times that we get it on TV, and I've taken her to a few games, but I know that the Philadelphia Flyers, I don't know if you're a hockey fan or not, but the Philadelphia Flyers seem to always be very competitive in the league, in the hockey league that we play in.
Yes, sir. I've been a Flyers fan since I was a child. I think they won the Stanley Cup when I was a young baby, and so I've been a fan since then. I followed them very closely when I was younger, not so much in recent years. But I would say about the Hurricanes, I've seen players, and I don't recall their names at this time, but members of that team have visited the Marines at the Wounded Warriors Barracks in the past, and I thought that was really a nice thing to do, and that was very special for them. So. I see some good in the Hurricanes as well, sir.
Well, that was a very nice comment. I'm sure many of the people watching the show, in particular those who are hockey fans, will appreciate that. I have found, I will say, and I'm sure it's true for all the teams across the nation, they do as much as any professional team that I've ever seen to integrate with the community. Mm-hmm. And whether it be the Wounded Warriors, or it could be a children's program, and that again is what we're talking about today with Toys for Tots. It is the celebration of the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but for young children who have dreams and hopes, this also is their year. And for those that maybe need a toy from a Marine or from any of us citizens, it's that time of year. Let me ask you about your service. You were at Cherry Point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were at Camp Lejeune.
Yes, sir.
I see you were over in Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
And you received accommodations for your service there. And I think that the people in my district and many of the people that watch this show are Marines. And as you said, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yes, sir.
And I know that what I have been amazed with in a very positive way is the soldiers and Marines. I want to be fair because I don't have any soldiers in the 3rd District. Okay. But their attitude of, you've asked us to do a job, we're going to do a job.
Yes, sir.
It's just really heartwarming. I've been to Bethesda. I'm sure Mike has many times, Congressman Kaufman. And to see the soldiers at Walter Reed, to see the Marines at Bethesda, and no matter how badly wounded, they want to get back with their comrades.
That's absolutely true, sir. And although you don't have Army in the district, like you said, I think the spirit of that is that we work well together. And in my job, in my last deployment, I supported an Army unit as their Joint Terminal Attack Controller, so supporting them through aviation assets. And so it's really humbling to see how well the Army and the Marine Corps and other units and other branches of service are working overseas. So it really is one team, one fight, and there's absolutely that commitment to our team members, those Marines that we serve with, to our left and our right. Absolutely.
Well, I again think about the children of our deployed, and yet, as you said, there are many programs, not necessarily Toys for Tots on base, but there are many programs to help the family when the loved one, be male or female, is overseas and their kids left back at home. Been the Young Marine program. Mike Kessler I know very well, and when John Murtha was living, and of course Congressman Murtha was not a bigger friend of the Marine Corps. Of course, he was a Marine.
Yes, sir.
Than John Murtha, but we worked together on many issues that benefited the families down at Cherry Point and Camp Lejeune. But I do think about the children. Again, I want those who might be watching this show, we talked about a number of subjects, but primarily it's about Toys for Tots, to look again, if we can, get in on the screen, the locations. I think there are 7 locations on the screen of those areas in 2 or 3, 4 counties that you can drop a toy off, and between now and the 23rd of December, you'll be able to leave a toy at one of those locations. And I do want to be fair about it. The Salvation Army, there's some church groups, and we all coming together for the same reason, and that is to create a little bit of happiness in a family that there would be no happiness if it wasn't for these programs and like Toys for Tots. Major, let me ask you again, how many units, if you would know this is a national program, Toys for Tots, right?
Correct, sir.
Okay.
And the number 691 comes up in terms of, I believe it's the units as well as other organizations working with those Marine Forces Reserve units as well. But it is throughout the United States. So the units, whether they be California, Florida, somewhere Connecticut. So just throughout, so people in the audience in North Carolina, of course, with the Marine Corps footprint there, shouldn't have a problem finding locations. But if someone's in New Mexico, they should be able to find a location as well. So really, there are ample opportunities for people to donate a brand new toy to some child that's really in need. And I think it's, for a child in need of that, I think it's good to, it builds up their self-esteem that they're not getting, that they're getting a toy and they're getting a brand new toy. And I think it fosters nice ties with the community as well. And the children are our future there, so I think I think it helps the Marine unit work with the community, and it helps bring that child up in the community.
Well, you know, so many of us who have been blessed as young people, I'm talking about when I was a child, I had a great mom and dad. They're both in heaven now, but they weren't well-to-do people, but they, like most parents try to do, they do as much as they can, you know, within reason. But because of the situation that we've already discussed, some parents are going to really be stressed this Christmas. And those of us who can take a toy to one of the locations, we're doing our part to help the family have maybe a better Christmas than they normally would have had. Major, let me ask you a couple more questions, and then we'll be working toward the end of this segment. How many children did you say, if not last year, the year before, that you were able to put a toy in their hands? You said that at the beginning of this interview, but I can't remember. It was
16.3 million toys to 7.4 million children in the year 2009. So from that 5,000 toys that were used and then refurbished later on to over 16 million brand new toys. It's just from 1947 until 2009.
Who is the general that oversees this program? Is it Chrisman?
It would be the general, probably in charge of MAR 4 Res, I would say.
Okay. Well, the reason I
believe it would be General Kelly, Lieutenant General Kelly, I believe.
Okay. I started a couple of years ago because of Jason Lowry. I started sending a small amount of money. Mm-hmm. And what they do with the national program, they do it all during the year. So even if you only send $25, you know, you can build up a little reserves for the Toys for Tots program. But Major, I want to thank you again, just a few seconds, you as well as all of our men and women in uniform and all the branches for your service. And America's a stronger nation because of young people like yourself who are serving our nation. And thank you for being a small part of this program today.
Well, thank you much, sir, for the time and the opportunity to discuss Toys for Tots.
Thank you. In just about a minute, Glen Downs will come on and be the second segment of this show, and we'll talk about a couple of issues that we're debating here in Congress right now. the tax relief for the American people. And again, Major, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for your service, and may God bless our men and women in uniform. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And happy holidays.
Thank you. Welcome to the second edition of Washington Watch. We just finished the first with the Major talking about Toys for Tots, and now Glenn and I'll talk maybe about a couple of issues before the time ends.
Congressman, thank you once again for having me here. This is sort of a special show because normally Congress would not be in session here today. We are in, as we're taping today, we're in what's known as the lame duck session of Congress, and Congress normally would have finished its business before the election, but this was a strange year, and it sort of remains a strange year.
It really does.
And as we're taping here today, and December 31st is upcoming, the tax rates that were put in place during the Bush administration are about to expire, but a lot of other kinds of taxes are about to expire too. The tax rates are going to go up, alternative minimum tax, and all sorts of tax credits, estate taxes, and things like that. So the big debate in Congress is, what do you do about that? And so what do you think is going to happen?
Well, Glenn, it's an interesting dynamics right now because the Republicans in the House agree with President Obama, and that is to extend all the Bush tax cuts for another 2 years. Some of the Democrats in the House are not in favor of all the taxes being extended. So I think the President, in fact, Mr. Boehner said today he will be the new Speaker of the House in the next Congress. He was very kind in his comments about the President coming to an agreement with the Republicans and in trying to figure out how we can maintain the tax cuts for another 2 years. And then also Mr. Obama was able to get some of the issues he was interested in. So now we're in kind of a situation where the Democrats have got to come together. Republicans seem to be together, but the Democrats aren't at this time.
I can look forward for a second into, hopefully, I guess later into this upcoming Congress, the group that just got elected in November. Obviously, the country can't keep repeating this drama over and over and over again. Yep. And how the spending is up here, the tax revenue's down there, and there's talk about doing something about tax reform and revamping the tax system and putting some fundamental changes in place the way money is being spent, and what are the prospects of that happening, you think? Not this Christmas, but I mean as the next year unfolds.
Glenn, it's going to be very interesting because some of the points that you just made are supposed to be implemented in the new Congress. That has not been finalized yet. That would be done by the majority party, which will be the Republican Party in the House, not the Senate, but the House. And those discussions among the Republican members are going on now and will for the next few weeks, as a matter of fact. And then our party, the Republican Party, will come forward with some ideas that I hope that most of the American people will feel like are good, sound policy ideas that need to be implemented. And you're right, we cannot keep playing this game of spend, spend, spend without knowing how we're going to pay for the spending. And we need to stop and to cut the spending. So there's going to be some tough decisions made by members of Congress and certainly the majority party. I'm speaking about the House, not talking about the Senate, but the House.
Again, looking forward to the next year. To the extent you've met some of these newly elected members that have been in Washington to sort of get oriented and begin putting their staffs together and all, do you have a sense that the newly elected members are more fired up about the prospect of reforming and cutting spending or than those that have been here for a while? And if so, what are those differences?
Well, I think the excitement of the new members definitely, they campaign to reduce the size of the federal government, to cut spending. You're exactly right. But there are enough members, including myself, who've been here for a longer period of time that believe we've got to do something to stop this out-of-control spending, because we know that China and the UAE and Japan are paying our debt, and we know it cannot continue. Now, coming together on what should be the policy to stop the spending will be the interesting point.
One of your constituents, a smart person, pointed out to me that the problem is that people dislike government in general, but they tend to like government in particular. So if they are drawing Social Security, in their minds, they view that differently than other government spending. Or if someone's in the military, they view that spending as different than other government spending. If they're a beneficiary of an agriculture program, they view that as different. But you add everybody's specific programs up, and it comes up to a lot of money.
That's right.
And so is there going to be a mechanism? You've supported in the past a sort of like a BRAC commission that is like a deficit commission but with teeth that says, hey, we're going to here's a set of recommendations, vote them all up or vote them all down, but there's no you scratch my back, I scratch yours anymore. Is that sort of thing have a chance?
Glenn, I think the debt commission, whether you or I agree with it or disagree with it, I think that it has set the debate. And I do believe that the next Congress is going to have to look at what's been suggested, and many of those proposals I think will be bills introduced to vote on and to debate, and I think that's necessary, absolutely necessary, because if we don't do it now, I'm not sure we'll be able to do it later, because we'll be in such a financial crisis that it might not be worth the effort. So we need to get it done now, or it's going to be too late. Glenn, I think instead of getting on another subject, we got 25 minutes. I want to remind you to please think about Toys for Tots, what we talked about in the first segment. I want to close by wishing you and your families the best of holidays, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and let's remember our men and women in uniform, and let's pray for them and pray for their safe return home. And God, please continue to bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to join us for Washington Watch.